Hi, everybody. Russ from the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well. So I'm going to use one here again because, again, Mrs. Budden and Florence have left, and mother-in-law isn't here, and deliveries are due. So I could jump out anytime. Hope you're all safe and well this Thursday. Hope everyone is safe. If you're new, ready, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it a subscribe, all that good stuff. And yes, I thought I'd bring you this. There was some news that broke last night, or yesterday during the day, and went on to a few more reports today as well about Issa Diop. Issa Diop being wanted by AC Milan, by Newcastle, and apparently Watford as well. Three really random. Newcastle, you can see that. Newcastle, everyone. Yeah, they're trying to get everyone who's possible. AC Milan, Watford. Not too sure what they're looking at in terms of price-wise, but I thought we'll talk about it in a bit more detail and that type of thing, get your thoughts and stuff like that. Tonight, I believe we've got the preview of the Crystal Palace game. No, it's my dog, sorry. The preview of the Crystal Palace game, which will be on 9 o'clock tonight with Anton and various other people. Let's see what we've got in the chat so far, and then we'll talk about it in a bit more detail. We have got fair enough, done. End of. Thank you. Good night. There we go. Fran has spoken. Sell him as soon as possible. There we go. Afternoon, Happy Hammer. Hope you're feeling better. Reasons, hope you're well, my friends. David's in the chat. Good afternoon, David. Gazza's in the chat. Good afternoon, David. Sorry, Gazza rather. Oh, everyone's talking to each other. So personally, I'm happy for Issa to go. He hasn't been the player we thought he would become, but obviously we need to get someone in first. We certainly do. However, I'd also be happy to see him stay for selfish reasons because we only have two centre-backs until Zuma is fully fit, indeed. But I mean, this coincides with reports from various sources that Zuma's actually gonna be back by the end of January. So and the assumption is also that David Moyes is looking to make investment in the central defence positions. That sort of goes without saying. We talk about some of the people we've been linked with as well in those sort of central defender positions, and so you can see how journalists put one and two together, and whether it's a journalist, whether it's whether a bid has been made, who knows? But it's interesting. I think it's interesting. Black Country, hope you're well. Kimbo, hope you're well. Ludders, good afternoon to you. I think Diop is bang average and not good enough for West Ham. Is a Danish bloke, isn't it? Kajar. It's not even pronounced. It's like Kish or something like that, isn't it? Macy Milan's a top defender. He's injured at the moment, I think, which is one of the reasons why I think Issa Diop's, been touted around by AC Milan. Afternoon, everybody. James, hope you're well. Evening, whatever it is. Good afternoon, everybody. Evening for Neil. 11:01. Very, very precise. I appreciate the preciseness. Please, they should take the money and run. Newcastle recruitment policy, filling enough shit. Some of it will stick indeed. David, good afternoon to you. Newcastle don't want Diop, according to they have a bigger possibility of getting Botman. I hope not. I like Shrimp Botman. And he was watching from home for a change. Good luck to you, son. Good luck to you. What's the Robinson? We'll talk about Robinson as well in a minute. 20 million for him, then get Nat Phillips and Ake. Don't think we're going to get Ake, mate. I don't think so. Send him to Newcastle, but they have to take Yarmolenko and Masuaku as well. How much do you think we really get for him? I don't know. I mean, in terms of like Issa's West Ham career, is that right? I mean, if I've got some stats, of course, because I've always got some stats. Where is it? Let me just bring him up. Me, I love a PowerPoint. So let's bring that in. So in terms of where is it? God, you'd think it'd be sort of add to screen. There we go. Brilliant. Blue screen. Fantastic. Hope everyone is really interested by that screen there. In terms of Issa's West Ham and his history, he's 24 years old at the moment, so he's still got a lot of years ahead of him. He's French international, under 16, under 17, under 18, under 19s, under 20, and under 21s. French international, so not a full French international just yet, but who knows? Maybe a move to AC Milan may put him into the Didier. Is it Didier Deschamps still the French manager? World Cup as well. Who knows? A few injuries and anything's possible at the moment. In terms of we signed him in July 2018 from Toulouse for around 22 million quid. It was a bit of a a big transfer, particularly for such a youngster who would have been sort of 2021 at the time. When he first played, I remember the game against Man United when Jose was in charge, and he famously at the end of the interviews press match conference, post-match press conference, said basically, congratulations to the scout who found a 21-year-old Issa Diop, a monster who dominated in the duels. I think he absolutely had, was it Lukaku in his pocket, I think, and Pogba. He was absolutely phenomenal. And we were worried that, keep your hands off Jose, keep your hands off him. But unfortunately, injuries and stuff and dips in form. There was that sort of trio, wasn't it? There was him, Ogbonna, and Balbuena, and it was always two were in form and one was out form, or two were fit and one were injured. So there was never really three of them in form at the same time. So they would chop and change as and when. I mean, he's currently made 108 appearances for West Ham, first team appearances, and he's scored 6 goals. So he's scored a fair. He's not done too bad. He does that annoying thing, doesn't he? Like that. Arguably he doesn't get as many goals as he should do, really, because he's a big lad. But as someone said, I wouldn't want him to go until we've got a replacement in. Now, obviously, the chances are we are going to be looking to strengthen in the centre back position. I mean, we've had 23. I mean, look at currently 23 centre backs we have been linked to in the last few weeks on my show, particularly. That's including a couple extra today, which we'll talk about in a minute. So the fact is we've got there's been a lot of potential. That's enough to fill the Premier League, really, isn't it? Centre back positions for the whole league. So there's been quite a few there. And also there was news today, and someone mentioned it already, about Fulham and as well as Ginter. The idea is 3 new players have been added to, not only 2 to the centre back positions in Ginter and Tosin Adebello from Fulham, former Man City player, I believe, and also interested in Anton Robinson, the left back from Fulham. So maybe a double deal potentially as well. So for me, I mean, also I can see, I could see them personally chopping in or buying someone like the Fulham guy and maybe one other, and for that money you may be able to get rid of Diop, and you still got the rest of the transfer budget to use. I can see I could see it happening. I really could see it happening, but not until we've got people in, because otherwise that's stupid, isn't it? But as I said, reports that Zuma's going to be back by the end of January. Say we get another 1, maybe 2 centre backs in, maybe, or another centre back plus a Lesse, or Ben Johnson can play in the back 3, or who knows, Aaron Cresswell may come back. Who knows? There's movement there, I think, and I could see this happening potentially as well. I mean, as I said, 23 centre backs we've been linked with. It's absolutely mental, to be honest. I think Issa Diop has had a bad time recently. I think, and Craig Dawson, I think, we mentioned it. I think Anton or Stel mentioned it in the review of the Watford game. They've both been unlucky because as a pairing, they played all right in the Europa League, but they weren't really tested. But they play better when obviously they have one of the first choice centre backs. Whether it's Ogbonna or Zuma, they both played a lot better. I remember when Dawson came on for Ogbonna against Liverpool, and he was outstanding. And then obviously when Zuma's injured, then Diop, they don't cover each other's frailties. It's a bit like Mark Noble used to play in Deck, and you felt that Deck was almost a little bit hamstrung because he was almost like trying to cover for Mark as well. And then when him and Souček as a 2, when they started, they were unstoppable because they were both very, very strong players. Let's see what everyone else thinks. 10 million, is it worth selling him? I don't know how much they're looking at. I mean, if we look at where's transfer market, on transfer market, I mean, this is just we just see let's put Issa Diop. What's he on there for? Issa Diop on transfer market is 10.8 million. It's not worth it, really, is it? I think if you got like, I don't think you get your money back. I don't think we'd get 22 million pounds for him. I could see us getting maybe 15 million quid, and maybe 50 million quid, and you can chop it and change for maybe the guy from Fulham, or maybe put it towards a double bid for the Fulham pair, for Robinson and Tosin as well. I could see that happening. And then you've only taken a little bit of what was assigned for our transfer kitty across. I think there's going to be lots of moving parts. He's lost a lot of value, hasn't he? Just an average player. Yeah, I mean, I mean, as I said, people have said, when he's come in and played, he's played well, but he's usually against one of the first team centre backs. So I like Ake because he can play left back as well. I like Ake as well, Lucas, and I think Man City like Ake, and I think that's why we're not going to get Ake. I think the Fulham guys, the Championship guys, or there's a lot of Bundesliga players: Ginter, Saul, Stark, Zagadou, Push Pineapple, Grind Coffee. Zakaria can play centre back as well as CD. There's a whole raft of Bundesliga players we've been linked with, and also Serie A as well. People like Bremer, people like and even more like Dutch League and Senesse and people like that as well. There's so many. We paid about £22 million for him. No, he's never been a full international. Every other age group from 16s onwards, but not full international. If Milan wants Diop, a swap deal for Romagnoli would be perfect. Left-footed, who's contract into the summer. I like Romagnoli. He's got a bit of that sort of James Collinsness about him. I wouldn't say he's that cultured, defender that we're after, but I could see it happening. Mick, good afternoon to you. Hope so. Well, since I started watching Diop, he hasn't looked anywhere near slopes that were dominant. Indeed. Well, I mean, as I said, Jose called him a monster. He was called a monster back in the day, but I think confidence. He was young then, so he was 21 then. So I'm surprised if Milan aren't looking. I'm surprised that Jose hasn't put a bid in from Roma. Because he might maybe change the scenery might work. Maybe the Italian game's a slightly slower game. Maybe it's not so much. It's not as physically intensive. I think people assume it may suit him better. When he's got more time on the ball, perhaps. Milan might suit him, exactly. I totally agree. I'd rather he didn't go to Newcastle. Yep, I agree. I don't see the point. I mean, Newcastle, I think Eddie Howe, as soon as anyone's phone up and say it's Newcastle, I want your player, you're going to have a Saudi tax on it of 25%. So if Diop was 10 million, they'd phone up and go, right, it's 12.5, 14, 15 million for you, that type of thing. So let's see, we've got no Tompkins. But those are the people that I've mentioned. There hasn't been any rumours about James Tompkins going back, like proper rumours rather than Twitter tattle, so to speak, but where there's been sort of a news report that I've covered. So those are the 23 that I've covered, and there's probably more that's still covered in his West Ham Weekly, to be honest. I reckon we're pushing about 30. I think at the moment I'm on about 66 players that we've mentioned, which is absolutely mental. I think we should keep him as long as I think we should keep him now. I don't say him. Send him on Saturday, January the 1st. But I think if we're getting guys in, I could see some movement to not only get him some more game time as well, because he wants to play first team football all the time. Argue when we get guys in, they're going to take. I think Gonzo did a video the other day about it. He could potentially be our 5th choice centre back if we bought a centre back, or maybe in 2 centre backs with everyone fit. When you got Zuma, you got a Bonner, you got Craig Dawson, so you get another one. If you got, and then Diop, that's 5th, plus Alesse as well, plus Baptiste as well. We know how much Moyes likes them 2 as well. So it may mean that moving him on, if you get a decent amount of money for him, it don't seem like bad business. The same thing happened when we sold Dean Garner and all the hoo-ha about it. We got 18, 90 million quid for him, and he did absolute F4 in West Brom last season. Apart from that first game back, where obviously he was going to do well because it was sod's law more than anything. I could see another thing happening like that. If we could get like 60 million, 70 million quid for him, I could see it being reinvested in the team. Ginter, I like the look of Ginter. I think he's a good player. But I like Saul. Nicolas Saul from Bayern Munich, an absolute unit of a man. Diop plays better with Zuma. He played better with Bonner as well. When there's one and the other, same as Craig Dawson plays better with the 2. Diop will not go is the whole French trio at the back. Yeah, exactly. I don't think we'll ever see that. We may do if we keep him, but I can't see it happening. There's definitely going to be reinforcements in January, hopefully, for a centre back, and that would take the 2nd spot when Zuma's back. it would be Zuma plus the guy they bring in. If not more than one, who knows? Diop must go horrible against Spurs. They were. Well, I thought he'd been with us longer. He's happy back up at the moment when Zuma returns. I would keep. He's still young to cook. He could, and there are glimpses of that. But would you keep him to stunt the progress of someone like Alese or Baptiste? Good question, Russ. Thank you. We need 3 centre-backs to be. Dawson is also a mistake, and that's we'll cut for a top 6 challenge. Well, we had 4 really, and 2 have gone, and 2 injured. So we'll be left with Dawson, a Croc, Bonner, super mood if you ask me. Well, I think if you sell, if you buy him first, then look to move players. I'm not saying we sell this guy January the 1st, but I think you could see something towards the end of the January transfer window. Him going, I could definitely see that, but not until you've got the supplies in. And if you've got money in the door now, or we've got money to spend in Jan, let's spend it quickly, please, and then reassess towards the end of the summer. Because although at the moment, Zuma was like meant to be April, and now it was February, and now it's the end of January. He'll be back next week. He seems to be like the bionic man in terms of his recovery from his injury. So got a lot of experience, played for Blackburn, Fulham. He was on City's books, a lot of appearances. He's a good shout. I think he's a really good shout, and I think you could do a good deal with him and Robinson. We need a left back as well. Robinson's a good left back. Obviously we were sniffing around with him when he was at Wigan before he chose Fulham, because we couldn't guarantee him first team football. I think was one of the reasons, because Aaron Cresswell was there. Now 18 months, 2 years later, it's a different world at the moment, isn't it? Particularly as we don't know where how long Cresswell's going to be out for. Afternoon, Karina, I hope you're well. It's time to move Diop on. Clearly does not rate him, and he'd be 5th choice. That's what I mean. He would be. It's the news that he damaged the back more than he thought. He chipped a bone apparently in the back of his back, which just shows the velocity he went into that posting. But I mean, he was on the bench. Yes, he was on the bench sitting there in his civvies, the last game at home, the Boxing Day game. So if he was that bad, he'd be laid up, wouldn't he? But he's moving. I don't know when he's going to be on the grass, but probably no one really knows. It could be another 12 weeks. I mean, something like 12 weeks. It's a broken bone. How long do they take to recover? Get rid for nothing. Indeed, we have no need to sell given our injuries. If someone wants him, they pay up so we can get a better replacement. Exactly. I wouldn't say right. We're selling this guy, but there's certain players where I think if they offers come in, we would look at them realistically. Him, maybe Yarmolenko, potentially Randolph, potentially. But I think Diop is the obvious one, I think, at the moment. Ginter, Romagnoli, and Kejo with my excellent Orcoleta my favourites. And I agree. I like Nicholas Stark as well. Sul. There's so many. As I said, we had where was it? I showed you that stats. These are the ones. Where is it? That one. So as I said, we've been linked with 23 on my channel, 23 for reports. So you've had Tossin, who's the Fulham guy. Botman, I love Sven Botman. He's good. Bremer, he's a massive unit from Torino. Coletta Danuka, he's the Nice centre back. Ben Davies from Liverpool. Rob Dickey, Matthias Ginter. Yesterday was Dyer Fry. Boubacar Kamara, Lloyd Kelly, I really like. I've put Aki on there anyway. Aki as well. Matvinenko was mentioned the other day. Mavropanos, the Stuttgart on loan from Arsenal. Ben Mee, Matvinenko, Phillips, Rondon, Rudiger, Rugani, Senese, I like as well. Stark, Sud, Tavkowski, Worrell, and obviously Ake as well. So plenty of names have been linked. Hopefully we'll get one of them in. And then we'll see what happens. What we got? I wouldn't sell Issa for less than 18, 20 million, but replacements must be in first. Totally agree, Kim. I just hope that we don't get rid of Diop for another youngster. I know we're trying to bring the squad age down, but we need experience in that area. Yeah, but I think it's the right experience, isn't it? Oh, Happy Hammer as well. I don't want to bring in journeyman. I don't want him necessarily bring in. That was the old West Ham. Bringing someone who's 30, 31. I know we did it with Craig Dawson, but it was a loan deal, and he just turned out to be good. I think someone like Milenkovic, or someone like Ginter, or someone like Saul 24, Saul's 25, I think. I think you want to get someone who's 25, like the same age as Zuma, so they can grow together rather than even. I mean, we'll end up going to probably get James Tarkowski, aren't we? But for me, I don't really. I mean, he's 28, and I think if they want 20 million, it's absolute waste of money. I'd rather get someone like Joe Worrell in, or someone who's in the Championship, or as Kent says, the Fulham guys as well. I mean, they've had a lot of experience, been on Man City's books as well. He was, so there's loads. Hi, all. Still is a wanted man by me. Unbelievable. Will he be on tonight? Probably not. Be Anton and probably Matt tonight. Trini, would you have a centre back in front without a doubt? Yeah, of course you would. Gintisco would be a very good option in the summer. Indeed, they would be. But you might be able to get Zakaria on cheap, because his contract runs out. Same with Ginter as well. We need Mr. Miyagi. Wax on, wax off, indeed. All these names have no Premier League experience and would not fit in straight. This is not FIFA. It's not FIFA, Trini. It isn't FIFA. But I don't think realistically, and if we put our realistic hat on, if we go to Man City and say, can we buy Nathan Ake? They'll say, yeah, you can buy him for like £35 million or 40 million, or no, you're not going to buy him because you're. I mean, the only option, the only flip side of that, think about it, is obviously City are running away with the league now. So they may not worry so much about how the other teams worry about us, for example. So that I'm thinking a little bit more could be a possibility. Maybe more so than, say, 2-3 months ago when we were talking about it. James Tarkowski, he's not going to come. Burnley, I'm not going to let him go cheap. If they go down, they lose £100 million, so that's in essence what he's worth to them. Same as Ben Mee, Nat Phillips, Liverpool. We're with Liverpool at the moment. We're part of that group. Then you're looking further and further down the league. Do you want to go and buy a Watford centre back or someone with Premier League experience in the bottom half of the league? Not really. That's not West Ham now. So realistically, you're going to have to go abroad to get a good player for a reasonable price. Anyway. Most of these centre backs are linked, are right foot. Some of them, yeah, some are, some aren't. Kaleta can play on the left side. You've got there's quite a few actually which are left-sided as well. But I mean, Tarkowski's a right footer, and that's we've been linked to for ages. So Dawson and Ogbonna can't be counted. Dawson is back up on best of bottom of the physicality he had. I totally agree with you. Trini. That's why for me, I don't want to buy it. I don't want to buy a stopgap. I want to buy a guy who may be a bit younger and can learn with Zuma as a two and can grow. Or someone who comes in at the same age as Zuma. Someone like Joe Worrell, for example. I could see him fitting in quite well. As I said, I really like Saul just because he's a massive unit. Zagadou as well. These type of players, they can come in and make a huge difference. But for many years to come, not for next season or 2 seasons. He said Dawson's backup. Bono next year will be 33, 34. We're going to offer him a 1-year extension to his contract. His contract's going to run out this summer anyway. So, we didn't necessarily think he's going to have a long-term future. Again, he'll be back up next season. When we're in the Champions League next season, those two could be our Champions League centre-backs. And then Zuma and Saul or Kaleta can be our Premier League first choice centre backs. Longano needs a shot at one of these days, needs to show faith. And we forget about let's say Baptiste, we've got cover there as and when needed. And there has to be a point where you give these boys a chance. So I think with Diop, he's standing in the way of one of those places. So it's and again, it's not our decision. It's more which one has the most, which guys have the most potential. Is it Diop or is it LSA? Is it? He definitely sees a long-term future for Baptiste as well. So again, that you don't want to restrict their potential as well. I don't know. I don't want any centre backs to be over 29. Do you know what, Patrick? I'm totally up to you. That's exactly what I said. It's a Rolls Royce made to look poor with an average at best with Craig Dawson. I totally agree. When he plays with Zuma or Ogbonna, a different player. Zuma's right. So shouldn't we be looking at a left footer? We should be looking at a left footer. Indeed, we should be. Kaleta is a left footer. Senese is left footed as well. I'm just looking for this at the top of my head. The guy who's yesterday, Danny Luque, he's left-footed as well. Ake is obviously left-footed. So those realistically, I think, are the targets. But We'll see. Santos left-footed from Zem, play centre-back and left-back. Zuma are deep. They certainly are, my friend. They certainly are. Cresswell even more so, I think. Even more so. Poor Oggy's value is now 1.8 million. I just hope he comes back. We've seen the player he was. I think we'll have every year, I think we've had Oggy. He's had an injury. And they've been getting more and more serious as his age as he's got older, basically. I don't think you'll ever see him back to where he was 2 years ago, where he was playing arguably the best football in his career. I think the injury is that he's out for a long time, and that will make a massive difference of him. And I think he'll be as a backup next year. I can really see that. In this season, be 34 exactly. So he'll be end of 35 at the end of next season. Let's be anyone we're linked with. If they're linked with, they'll choose them over us. Maybe, maybe not. Again, don't forget you've got the caveat of a World Cup as well. Is someone going to link? If someone's linked to us and Man City, unless they're Ruben Diaz, because they're going to not replace Ruben Diaz, are they? Same as Chelsea. I know Christensen and Rudiger, they're coming to the end of their contract, but Rudiger's probably one of the best Premier centre backs in the Premier League at the moment. So realistically, Liverpool, they got Van Dijk, and these big clubs, unless. If you have England aspirations, you want to. West Ham's a really good team to play for because we're in the top 6, top 7 of the league. We're playing, we're playing good football. We're getting a lot of press coverage at the moment, and you wouldn't go to us rather than Newcastle. We're going to be in a relegation battle, indeed. So I think there's that extra caveats to anyone we get from the Premiership this season. If we do, I honestly, more and more I'm thinking about it. Maybe Ake. But that's just me thinking out loud now. Bono is the new Reed. I think he will be, sadly. He's moving to Real. Russ, done deal. Reece James most likely too. Fair play. Just checking in. I'm on holiday in Florida. 25 degrees, 7 and just thought, thanks. It's very kind here. Cheers, Pecans. Agreed, Russ. 27 will be perfect. Indeed, we agree. I don't want to say it will grow with you said in the future. It doesn't have the experience making an impact now to help us stop conceding. Indeed, Rudiger's 27. Stats are good. Yeah, but he's been someone who hasn't. He's been a lot of backup recently, hasn't he, Rudiger? Rugani rather. So I don't know. What we got here? I'm just going. What's this? Diop being a wanted man? Well, reports. As I said, he's Newcastle, AC Milan, and Watford. So we're just talking about whether it would be right and who we'd bring in to replace him. I'm only afraid of his experiences. He's young, 24. Would love Schlick or Hossack. We'll go back and we did a whole thing yesterday about all our transfers. Went on for over an hour. Me just talking about all the different transfers we've had coming up. Does anyone know when Zuma's coming back? Well, apparently, according to Clarence Hugh and stuff like that, end of January. So that's gone from April to February to the end of January. So as I said, he'll probably turn out probably on the bench for Crystal Palace, but no, it won't be. But it's not. We've got, and also another thing worth pointing out is the where until December we were playing 2 game weeks. We're not in January, so we've got Crystal Palace, then we've got Leeds in the Cup, then we've got Leeds in the league. A week after that, and then we've got Man United at the end of January. So we've only actually got 3 league games in January. So it's not like we get like the Christmas period where we've got 6 games in. So it gives us that little bit extra, wiggle room, I think, and time to recover as well. And maybe that Man United game, maybe Zuma might be back for that. So it may only be 2 Premier League games where we're without Zuma now. Who knows? Between a rock and a hard place, we don't want to send it back too old. We don't want to. Indeed. Centre back and left back and positions such crucial for us. Premier League players will be so expensive. They'll be so expensive because they know, but everyone, it's not in the Premier League. It's not a secret that we need a centre back. It's not a secret we need a left back. So again, when we come calling, they're going to up the prices. As long as we stop trying to get Lingard, I'm fine. We'll see his rumors to be back around. He is. Russ was skipping comments. Bet he skipped mine about my dream where him and Russ would. No, I haven't. I haven't. I'm just going when you say like true or yeah, I agree. That's what I'm skipping to him. Oh, fair enough. I'm in your dreams now because it used to be Stell and Anton in the hot tub. Maybe it's moved on. Opted to have the operation, which was a much faster recovery time. Indeed, he did. Can't wait for the Leeds FA Cup game. That's something to look forward to, isn't it? Hopefully, Stell's can do this sort of year in review, which there's been a lot that's happened this year, and so he's got to go through it and get your your thoughts. Whoever Moyes brings in, we shall trust. I'd like to see. I think DCC or Duj Kaletakar, for those of you who don't know the abbreviation. I think there's a real possibility of him. I really do. I'm going to do a poll. Shall we sell Issa Diop? Yes or no? I want to get your thoughts. Shall we sell Issa Diop? Yes or no? That's the question. I want to see what we think about that, because I think there's a real. I think there seems to be a bit of a people. Yes, no, and I don't want caveats. Would you sell him if AC Milan came in with a bid? Would you sell him? Yes or no? That's the question I want to ask. That's the question. And we'll do it for the next 10 minutes. And then when we finish at quarter after 45 minutes, we'll then go back and see. Only for someone to see, I said, I don't want caveats. Only for someone. Will there be any early Moyes? Or will there be? I think there will be early movement. I think there has to be early movement. I think peak ads. I think the fact is, because we haven't got loads of games in January, there's a real, if we can get something early, they've got time on the grass to really have a go, really get embedded. By all accounts, Newman's been looking at lots of different players. Some people we've never heard of will definitely be coming through, which I find really exciting. Names that we don't know. We've already had some names we don't know already. People like Aquina and stuff like that. Let me just stop this, and then it'll be better. Aquina and people like that as well. There was a guy yesterday who looked like Frankie, who looked like Holly Johnson from Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Briasco, the Armenian Boca Juniors striker, the next Mkhitaryan as well. So I think there will be sell this and bring two in. I think we should go after Phil Jones. I was waiting for the Phil Jones comment to come in. Thank you so much, Howard. I don't trust our club to replace him. We've been operating one striker, but GP, I mean, strikers a separate conversation. I think I think striker is it's definitely a preference of Moyes to not have a. He's had options. I mean, as I said, we put bids in for El Nesri. Was it last summer? He didn't want to come to us. Maybe that might have changed now because we're a bit of an attractive proposition now. But he was nothing like Antonio. Nothing like Antonio. So you can see the type of striker he would want would be, for me, quick. I was surprised we didn't put a bid in for someone like Adam Armstrong. I think that would have been, but I think the price tag was a lot of money. And yeah, he scored a few goals, but he was on the bench, didn't come on against Southampton, did he, the other day? Where Southampton opted for someone like Brozier, who's like a big unit of a centre forward. So I think that's a separate conversation. Centre backs is a bit different. We like having the bodies in. We like having cover as well. And if it could sell Issa to add a couple of to add some money to the transfer budget, then why not? Why not? I think we've got cover in the backs for the sort of the cup cover, if that makes sense. So you've got LSA, you've got Baptiste. If you play for back three, Ben Johnson can come in there and play. Soufal can play in a back three as well. He did that last season as well, Ben Johnson as wing back. So there's lots of options. And then when Crest comes back, whenever he comes back, he can play that sort of left side of the back three as well. So I would like to, I mean, personally, I'm going to go yes. I would sell him, obviously, not on the first. I hit no by mistake. You had 50-50 chance. 50-50, you hit the wrong side. I like Diop, but there's too many errors on his behalf. Replacement in first, I totally agree. I consider selling Diop if they have to take Yarmolenko first. Any checks to watch? Well, we had loads of checks yesterday. We've got Anton Barak, you've got Holosak, you've got Schlick. There was the guy from Sparta Prague, wasn't it? As well, the centre back. That was a while ago. How much do we don't know. We don't know. And I love the fact we don't know, Ian, because it means we're not, when we come calling, we could come, cap in hand, and people know, oh no, you did a report, you got 70 million. We know how much money we've got. And I like the fact we don't know. If we could have one Premier League proven in and risk and one risk, what position would you choose to prove one in? Well, I would choose him as a centre back, to be honest, because I think we've survived without having a striker, a Premier League striker. Antonio's not a Premier League striker. He's not a striker as such. He's a forward, and even then Bowen can play there. But I think centre-back is crucial. The chances of getting a Premier League proven centre-back is, I think, very unlikely, unless you pay for the nose. We need centre-back for the pace at the back if we are to press high. Indeed. Could get Armstrong low? I don't think so. Don't think so, mate. I'm sure that Newcastle will pay a decent price for Yarmolenko. Lingard, Jones, Origi, and Tompkins, jobs are good. Don't think James Tompkins is coming back, mate. I don't think Origi is going to come until the summer. Liverpool aren't going to sell him to us. They're too busy with the AFCONs, with Mane and Salah out. Lingard, I can see him coming, but I think I personally think he'll come in the summer. I really think I do, but who knows? It's about his mentality, isn't it? Really, I would hope that he'd want to play football and get into the England squad. So therefore, he'd come to West Ham. But Jones, no. We'll target 2 players. Striker, centre back. That's it. Yep. I think you're gonna have centre. I think there will be a left. I could see a move for a left back as well. But those 2 for sure, definitely could come good. And his regular Clamouty waits are a bit worrying. I mean, as he's 24 now, so you think that side of his game would be a bit. Anyway, how old is Tompkins? I think Tompkins is the wrong side of 30 for West Ham, I think. But we all know that Moyes is bringing players, only ones that are willing to work hard. Indeed. But guarantees youngest another year of development. I don't think so. I'm afraid that we'll wait last day of business. No, I think I reckon we'll do it reasonably early. I reckon. Lingard and Scossi would like Origi as well, but point at Liverpool will let him go. And Tarkowski, Burnley want to want 20 million quid. They're going to want top dollar for him. Because it's a calculated risk for them, so I can't see it happening. He's about 32. I think you're right. Would bring a sack of rice for a decent price. Tompkins been around for a long time. What we got here? We should look at a natural DM that sits and let play forward. Maybe see if we can Cornet, Diable on Encook. I mean, Zakara as well from Mönchengladbach. His name would be linked with. There's been lots of sort of that defensive midfielders have been linked with as well. There he is still. Ake on loan doubles as a left back. Are City going to give us Ake on loan still? Are they? I think part of me thinks they might do now because they're running. I mean, 6 weeks ago, I think they would have not. But they're running away with the league so much now that if they send him to us, then we could hopefully F up the rest of the title contenders. I don't think City will see us as title contenders now. Maybe 6-7 weeks ago, possibly. But anyway, keep dip to the summer. There we go. We'll see. These rumours are rubbish anyway. Oh, they are. They are. They're just rumours. We're not in the no show, as you know, still. 100% agree with that logic. Indeed, it's 6 foot midget, Moyes tall centre backs. Epic is as tall as Cresswell, who Moyes uses as centre back. He does as a left sided centre back. Indeed, everyone's talking to Stell. Hope you're feeling better. Yep, now that's what I mean. Now they're clear. I can see that happening now, more so than Tarkowski. That's what I reckon. On loan, but not sell. I can't see them selling him to us. And if they would, they'd ask for top dollar. Because he's come through the ranks. I think, isn't he homegrown as well? Because he's come through the ranks. So again, for City, it's worth them keeping these homegrown players because they need it to get the quota as well. There's lots of different things. That's why I can't see Tarkowski coming, because we're not going to spend 20 million quid on him for 6 months. We could get him in the summer, maybe. Who knows? But I don't see it happening. But even in the summer, he's to be 28, 29. I'd rather them get someone else in, get some of these youngsters in, give Alessa, give Baptiste, give them that 4th spot, No, he's not City homegrown, but isn't he a homegrown player? Isn't there something I don't know, because he comes from a homegrown, because he was at, Bournemouth and Chelsea and Bournemouth. I don't know. He came from, obviously he was at Chelsea beforehand, wasn't he? And so I've got a feeling he has some special. It's like with all English players as well, there's a premium as well. So that's why, someone like Tarkowski, he's English. So there's no way we're going to spend a lot of money for him at all. Ake is the only realistic target from him. Would prefer him to. I agree, Trini. I would prefer him to Tarkowski any day of the week. But then we're getting him on loan. It's a stopgap, isn't it? It's a stopgap at the moment. It's a stopgap to cover. We would need to then invest in the summer for a centre back. And so then we start off in August with an unknown centre-back partnership. Anyway, ladies and gents, I'm going to have to go because the door's just turned up. Make sure you check back at us 9 o'clock tonight. We'll be there with Anton and with Matt doing a preview. And I will speak to you guys soon. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Come in your eyes. See you again very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
It's like a family tree.